Hey everybody, welcome to the Press Box. I'm Tariq Spence, filling in for Bill Puckle. Trust me, guarantee he will be back on the show. Hopefully soon. Ryan Duffy joins us now. Duffy Brothers here. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you back on Let's Go Duff-alo podcast. You guys still doing that during the off season or no?
Yeah, not as much. And also, I've been vomiting for the last 2 weeks, so that's thrown us off a little bit. But it should be back up.
All right, well, Pat Duffy, as usual. Good to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
You scared me for a minute with the whole vomiting story.
Well, thank you for texting me. That was very sweet of you.
I was just like making sure you're not contagious, so we wouldn't do this show.
Yeah, I got you.
Smart move.
And of course, opening day as well. We already started the baseball season.
Yeah, the kid jersey. By the way, I was such a big kid. I've had this jersey since I was 12 years old, and it still fits me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's true.
I don't even know. Are you sure you didn't get that at a swap meet somewhere?
No, I'm positive. I think he watched me open it on Christmas morning.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Well, I'm not going to argue with the new NFL rules. They've changed everything. So I guess, Ryan, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts here on this new kickoff stolen from, I think, the XFL? Mm-hmm. They're trying to get teams to return to football. Do you think this new rule is going to work?
I don't know if it's going to work or not, but at the same time, I'm happy for this change. I think it's fun to see that there are ways to evolve the game. No one can argue that about the unsafeness of the traditional format of the NFL kickoff. I like the fact that they're making an attempt to make it a little bit safer. I understand the purists that are like, oh, we're changing the game. But if you're going to hitch your horse to that being a change to the game, I think that's a stupid argument.
I mean, the kickoff now, they have to wait until the receiver actually has the ball before they can start running. So no running start.
And not only that, the players that are facing off against each other are in a direct line only 10 yards apart. So you're limiting full speed face-to-face collisions. No, I think this is great. It's going to make the play a legitimate play again, the kickoff. I mean, you look at how few kickoffs were not only returned, period, let alone returned for scores. It's what made that Nyheim Hines game a couple of years ago so exciting as he takes two to the house. I think this is great. I think they should have done it a long, long time ago. And to the folks who argue you're messing with the sanctity of the game, go back and watch a game from the 1960s. When you think you wanted, that's when football was football. You couldn't sit through it. Yeah. And they're on YouTube. You can go sit through a whole game. You will not be able to watch that game. Thank God for the rule changes the NFL has made.
One thing I think, too, that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about is you think about the normal 53-man roster, right? And the amount of players that are allocated to special teams alone. With removing the full-on 20, 30-yard collision, imagine the amount of maybe skill position players or defensive backs that you'd be able to now have on your roster that could potentially contribute on offense or defense, as opposed to having specialized special team players. I think there's a long-term win there.
Also, with the rule change on the defensive end, the hip drop tackle. This has been a big discussion before. A lot of players hurt with it. I don't know how Aiden Hutchinson of Detroit got brought up in this. Somehow, somewhere along the way, he got thrown in as some sort of nasty player or some underrated. I don't know what that is. But what are your thoughts about the hip drop tackle and a penalty if you use it?
Okay, I'll be straight up. I know this is going to cause a massive problem all season next year because I'll be sincere. I'm not even entirely sure what a hip drop tackle is. I've watched videos of it. They all look different every time I see it. But again, anything that keeps players safer, I'm okay with, because the same folks that you see on social media freaking out, they don't even let guys tackle anymore, are the same people that come week 11 when it's Gardner Minshew facing off against Derek Carr are complaining that they're, we're all the NFL starting quarterbacks. Keep people healthy. It makes the game more entertaining.
I also think, too, you can make the same argument for the horse collar tackle. People, when that was removed from, from the rule book, were up in arms saying, how are you supposed to tackle someone? There's going to be a way that the players are going to adapt to this. I think it's good, like you said, take any type of, proven way of hurting players and take it out of the game as much as you can. I'm for it.
Not to mention it's going to add offense, because if I can't grab someone and pull them backwards, it's only extra yards per carry. It's going to extend offensive drives based on having to tackle through the back of somebody. It makes the game better. It's going to suck when your team is a victim of that penalty or when they have to tackle someone past the line of scrimmage. But it's part of the game evolving.
Quickly, before you go, the trade deadline, moving it back a week. Week 8 now, week 9.
It should be week 10. Why would you not push it back as late as possible? You look at a team like Cleveland last year, who they go on the miracle run with Joe Flacco, but they would have been in the market for a better quarterback had the trade deadline been moved back those 2 weeks. Heck, they could have won a playoff game or two had they had somebody better behind center.
I'm going to go even further. no trade deadline.
What? You're an
You
idiot.
can trade anytime you want. Let's say I'm out of the playoffs. I'm the New York Jets. I'm out of the playoffs, and I want to trade away someone who I'm going to lose next season. Let him go play for the team that's going to represent the conference.
No, there's
No
so
way.
many issues.
Think of the fun.
Salary cap, contracts, games. All this. Guys haven't played in weeks, and all of a sudden they're in the playoffs.
You say yourself the salary cap doesn't exist. I think this would add a whole lot of fun to the regular season.
A guy trying to chase a ring, maybe at the end of the season, gets off of the team. You start shedding for the brand new upcoming NFL season, especially if you're out of it. You got some guys you can bargain off. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it would throw things totally out of whack at the end of the season.
If I'm an NFL team, why would I not trade away all of the guys that are about to be free agents?
Exactly.
It's unfair to the players, and it's dangerous. This is the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life.
I don't know. I think Ryan might be onto something. Coming up next, Buffalo Bills segment. Are they even with the Dolphins? We'll find out. You're watching the Rochester Press Box.
Just passing through life lessons from notable Rochesterians, people you may think you know. Don Elhart, Maggie Brooks, John Dady, and Stacy Pension, J Mac and Soccer Sam, Fred Costello, and Jake Zembeck, along with 21 more. How they all got from there to here. It's a new book by Bill Pucko, available for $12 postpaid only from rocksportsnow.com. Try it, and thank you.
Welcome back to the Press Box. Bill's segment is being brought to you by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorney. And of course, the Duffy brothers are here. Let's go, Duff-alo. Ryan, where can we hear the show?
You can find us on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts, and you can follow us on social media at lets.go.duffalo.
Oh, Pat, I have to ask you about DraftKings. They somehow have aligned the Bills and the Dolphins at 10.5 wins together in the AFC East. How is this possible?
Oh, well, it's great because it's free money for people that are going to take over on the 10.5 of the Bills. I don't get this idea that the Bills and the Dolphins somehow are equal teams all of a sudden. The Dolphins are in just as much salary cap hell as the Bills are, and they have nothing to show for it. Their team got exponentially worse than the Bills did in the players that they had to lose. And oh, by the way, you don't have Josh Allen, and you have a quarterback that's coming into a contract year. This is a joke. It's a joke. But I may be overreacting. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. Are the Dolphins that close to the Jets? Excuse me. Are the Dolphins that close to the Bills? I don't understand how everybody sees this with so many questions with Miami. They lost a lot of players.
The only thing I can think of is if the closeness of the records at the end of the season last year. But if that's the argument, which I think is a stretch, mind you, the Dolphins went on a very poor run toward the end of the season, lost the division heads up in Miami to Buffalo, and then eventually lost in the wild card round to Kansas City. So that alone, I don't think you can justify the evenness.
Oh, by the way, did that playing a second place schedule while the Bills are playing a first place schedule?
That's a good point.
But go on.
No, that's a good point. I can understand if that's your argument there, but I think that's a flawed one. And I don't think that the Dolphins got any stronger this offseason.
Is the Vegas thing, though, the Buffalo Bills have had 3 to 4 years to obviously dominate this and get to either an AFC Championship game and a Super Bowl. They've not been able to do either one. Is it the fact that Vegas thinks that Buffalo's falling?
Okay, I mean, it's possible that's what they think it is. But if we're going to go heads up who's going to win more games, it's Buffalo. It's without a question Buffalo. And again, as long as you have Josh Allen as your starting quarterback, your window is not closed. Your ability to win that division is always going to be number one. And it feels to me this is Vegas trying to take advantage of fans sick of talking about the Bills who want to take anybody but the Bills, and they're trying to take those people's money.
Is that close to the window being closed for Buffalo? Is that what people are seeing right now in making this decision?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. And honestly, if people want to put their money up against it, go with God. Have fun. You're gonna lose.
Jets 9.5, and they think the Patriots. I think it was 4.5, maybe 5 wins this year.
Can someone explain to me the Jets 9.5? What do we do with that? Because 2 weeks ago, your quarterback was going to be a vice presidential pick. I don't understand where people think this talent is coming from on this Jets roster. Nothing but unproven guys. You have a quarterback in his 40s that is coming back from a blown Achilles? Are you out of your mind?
A year removed from any actual action. Like, I don't understand.
He hasn't played football in 2 years. Yeah. He hasn't played football in 2 years.
I don't know. Listen, Vegas doesn't make mistakes, but maybe they got this one all wrong. We got Like It or Not coming up next. You're watching the Rochester Press Box.
32 overall for his Jackson. And oh, by the way, he, if you think about it, last year would have been ahead of Allen. If you were ranking those quarterbacks, what a difference a year makes. He makes the playoffs, finally wins a game, but Josh Allen goes to the AFC Championship game. Now I rank him, Allen, ahead of Jackson. So I go I go Allen, Jackson, Mayfield, Darnold, Rosen. Well, I don't even know where he is. Last time I checked, it's Tampa.
Here's the Press Box Trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road.
Channels of the Finger Lakes. They're historic and they're beautiful, and you can tour them. I'm Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy, and I'll take you to them. Just look for the Getaway Guy right now on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Of course, the Duffy brothers here. Let's Go Duff-alo podcast. And of course, time for Like It or Not now. Who should I go with first? Should I go with Ryan?
Yeah, go with Ryan. He's dressed like the brawny paper towel guy.
Oh, don't do this to this guy. Come on, you guys are brothers. All right, it seems like HBO's Hard Knocks is going to do an in-season version of it, but instead of one team, they're going with a division. Which division would you pick?
If I had to choose, I'm going with the NFC East every single year. Whether it's competitive or not, there's always a lot of rivalry built up. Obviously, there is in every division, but with the Cowboys there and the Giants there, I feel like there is a lot, and the Eagles there as well. I think that there is a lot to be seen, and I think that could be really entertaining.
Now, I would pick the AFC East, but they just went through the Dolphins this past season, so I understand that. I would have liked to see the Bills in there too. But what are your thoughts, Duffy?
I want the AFC West, and it's not even a question. You get to see the Chiefs have to do what they have to do again. And look, we understand that there are some things going on in that locker room that we don't see. I want to see that. You got insane Harbaugh now taking over the Chargers. That would be must-see TV. He's living in an RV. He wants to live in an RV off of the practice site. I want to see what Antonio Pierce can do as the actual now head coach of the Raiders. I think that story really is really good. He said he's going to stick with Aiden O'Connell as their quarterback because he deserves it. And then, I mean, of all of them, Sean Payton, the piece of crap that guy is, now trying to reckon what he's done with the Russell Wilson experiment that he said he could handle. Without question, it would be must-see TV every second of every team behind the scenes.
I see a big team of obviously the Kansas City Chiefs going at it again, bringing that team back in again. Raiders thing looks very interesting as well. I want to go back to the NFC East. The whole thing with the Giants and the Eagles too. Sort of that dynamic where you had the owner come out basically saying he's like, I hated to see Saquon Barkley go, but now he's a Philadelphia Eagle. The Dallas Cowboys have been there before, but of course they're always a dumpster fire to watch out for. And Washington. Who are they going to draft and rebuild that team around? Both good picks. I don't know. I mean, this is quite the story. I love Hard Knocks the way it is, but the drama from the team, it should be interesting.
I feel like the NFL had their hand forced by the players union this year. The players and the coaches do not want the cameras around as much as they were. Therefore, to get all the content they need, they've got to spread it across 4 franchises.
I did love Miami's in season for for Hard Knocks.
So did I, especially towards the end.
Oh my goodness!
You do know what this is all going to culminate to, right?
What is that?
It's going to be the NFL and then the NHL and the NBA all having different Hard Knock seasons that are all going to culminate to where they have to fight Thanos.
Oh my goodness! And then who will win? I don't know. Unfinished business on the way next. The Duffy brothers. Never a dull moment. You're watching the Rochester Press Box. The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
Unfinished Business is brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Better roof, better price. Better call Greg today. Save time and money on your roof and siding. Call us today for a free estimate. Special financing's available. Visit us online at gregtheroofer.com.
Welcome back to Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business. As always, the first Duffy to go is Pat Duffy.
I don't know how to feel right now because I love Tre'Davious White, and I'll always love Tre'Davious White. He was the first pick in the McDermott era here in Buffalo. He really began the golden age that we've been living in as Buffalo Bills fans for the last couple of years, and you do not meet a harder working, nicer, smarter guy. Do you know that he was a valedictorian of his high school class and graduated from LSU early? Oh, by the way, he was an all-pro when he was healthy here in Buffalo. You heard Sean McDermott earlier this week talk about how the injuries robbed the Bills of being able to see what the full potential for Tre'Davious White is. And this week, to officially close the door on his tenure in Buffalo, he signed a one-year deal with the Los Angeles Rams. I love Tre'Davious White. I will always love Tre'Davious White, and I will always cheer for Tre'Davious White, which hurts me because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I want to see the guy return to form because he deserves it. He works his tail off. He's a guy who you cannot help but stand up and clap for. But in returning to form and being successful, it means that the Bills have made a mistake, and we could have kept him around and had him on this roster to continue the success that they've had the last couple of years. If he does really well, it makes the Bills look terrible. If he plays really terrible, it makes it so that a guy who deserves it doesn't get what he's earned his entire career. I don't know what to hope for. I mean, I do know what to hope for, but I don't know what I'm supposed to hope for.
The last time I was on this program, I went on a long rant about how I would love to be the GM of the Buffalo Sabres. The season was about to kick off, and there was so much to look forward to, seeing as how the boys in blue only missed the playoffs by 1 point last season. Fast forward to today, several months later, and here I am looking like a handsome fool for having such optimism. Now, the Sabres aren't technically eliminated from playoff contention, but they do not control their own destiny, and they have dropped some must-win games in the last few weeks. All signs are pointing to the longest NHL playoff drought continuing for another season. While that stinks, it's important to highlight that this season was not entirely a bust. Buffalo corrected the loss streaks that were so prevalent last season. Team mainstays like Rasmus Dahlin have continued to play to their contract, and it was a breakout year for goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. There was progress. But now I think the conversation moves to how long is the club going to give head coach Don Granato to earn a playoff berth before considering a coaching change. The boys love him, which definitely counts for a lot. And at the time of this recording, he has a head coaching record of 117 and 121. Barring a massive skid to start next season, I'd truly be surprised if they moved on from Donnie Meatballs. You have to ask yourself, how long, though, is this front office willing to stick it out without a playoff appearance?
When I saw the story about Shohei Ohtani, I thought for a second a couple of different things. Number one, we like Shohei, so we're not going to condemn him or come up with any crazy conspiracy theories. We do go after people we don't like and don't know because that's just the way we are these days when it comes to social media and loving to go at people no matter what their situation is. When it comes to Shohei, though, I guess my question would be this. Listen, I don't know what's going on with him and his career and his new contract and all these other different things, but he's built up enough equity to believe that he could have been taken. Listen, do you know what happens when you go to get your mail? There's always somebody trying to offer you something, somebody texting you a scam alert, somebody trying to offer you a brand new deal or a brand new way to use your cell phone service, whatever it might be. There's a scam around the corner every single day. And, of course, welcome to the United States. We're running them all the time. So, do I believe Shohei Ohtani basically got scammed by an interpreter who's been around for years? Yeah, of course, it's a possibility. Could there also be a possibility that he knew about it and that guy turns it into the fall guy? Also a possibility. But he's built up enough equity for me to believe that he was taken advantage of. Remember, he's new to the country, but he still has to learn the ways of what goes on in this country. And I will say this. Listen, we love Shohei and the way that he plays. You put together 2 good months with the Dodgers, this will all be forgotten. And that's Rochester Press Box for this week. Duffy Brothers, as always. Let's Go Duff-alo. Where can we find it, Ryan?
You can find it on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
And I do have to say, I mean, Ryan's new with this whole media thing. He did a great job for TV, even dressing for TV. He looks like the one guy from Home Improvement swallowed the other guy from Home Improvement.
Oh, why would would you do that to your brother like that?
And you can't even see that guy's face. He's behind the fence the whole time.
Well, I tell you what, I know who my Duffy is my friend button is going to.
Where did it come from?
I don't know.
Oh, I
Joe
like
just
that.
handed it to me, and I think it's hilarious.
It's a great button.
But Duffy is my best friend.
Which one?
I love it.
Ryan this week.
Thank you.
And the button's gone.
Thanks for watching the Rochester Press Box. Enjoy your weekend.
Josh should have been rolling.
What's wrong with you?
Josh Broylan.
Josh Broylan. That's pretty funny.